laughing gas. I borrowed a tank from the dental clinic. The plan was simple. They would pump the gas through the ventilation system of Binghamton's office during the preliminary hearing. The next morning, the office was tense. Binghamton sat with a grim scowl, ready to sign the papers that would end Parker's career. Outside, Gruber and Tinker were busy attaching hoses to the window. "Captain," McHale said, stepping into the office. "Before you sign, we brought you a gift. Some goldenrod flowers for your desk." "I'm allergic to goldenrod," Binghamton snapped. "Open the window. I need air." That was the signal. The gas began to hiss into the room. Slowly, the scowl on Binghamton's face began to soften. His eyes glazed over. He looked at the fitness board papers. Then he looked at Parker. "Parker," Binghamton giggled. "You know, you're a funny little man. Chucky Wucky." Parker blinked. "Sir, Chucky Wucky!" Binghamton roared with laughter, slapping his desk. "You torpedoed a garbage scow. The potatoes, they were flying everywhere." It was like a vegetable parade. McHale suppressed a grin. "Cancel it? I'll promote him. Admiral Parker, king of the potatoes." Binghamton was now standing on his chair, flapping his arms like a bird. "I'm a seagull. Look at me. I'm soaring." But the gas was leaking into the hallway. Lieutenant Carpenter walked in and immediately began to titter. "Oh, sir, you do look like a seagull. A very majestic, lead-bottomed seagull." The situation took a turn for the surreal when Admiral Shoemaker arrived for the actual fitness board. He walked into an office where the base commander was pretending to hatch an egg on his desk, and the executive officer was dancing a jig with a mop. "What in the name of the Great White Fleet is going on here?" Shoemaker demanded. The gas hit him. 10 minutes later, the base was treated to the sight of an admiral and a captain playing leapfrog on the lawn. The fitness board was forgotten. Parker was safe. The only problem was the hangover. When the gas wore off, Binghamton had a headache that felt like a naval bombardment, and he couldn't remember why he had signed a commendation for Deadeye Parker. Chapter 5. The Jinx of PT-13. Binghamton's next plan was more subtle. He decided to convince the crew that PT-73 was haunted. If they were too scared to man the boat, he could declare them unfit for duty and ship them to a desolate rock in the Aleutians. He discovered a lost file claiming the boat was originally commissioned as PT-13, a vessel with a history of explosions, disappearances, and bad luck. "It's a Jonah, McHale," Binghamton told them with mock concern. The crew, being sailors, were naturally superstitious. Every creak of the hull became a ghostly groan. Every flickering light was a phantom. "Skip, I saw a face in the sonar," Willie cried. "A green face?" "It was probably your reflection in a bowl of lime jello," McHale sighed. But the crew was genuinely spooked. Binghamton, sensing victory, snuck onto the boat at night with a projector and some fishing line to create paranormal activity. However, McHale had caught on. He organized a counter-haunting. When Binghamton climbed into the engine room to rattle some chains, he found himself surrounded by glowing, skeletal figures. The engines started by themselves. "We can." A voice boomed over the intercom. "Wallace, we are waiting for you. Join the Ghost Fleet." Binghamton shrieked, tripped over a wrench, and went flying overboard. The ghosts, the crew in long underwear, painted with radium, stepped out and waved. "Farewell, Captain," McHale shouted. "Hope the water's not too cold." The next day, the lost file miraculously disappeared, and Binghamton refused to speak of the PT-73 for a week. Chapter 6. The $62,000 Alligator. The final act of the Taratupa drama took place in New Caledonia. McHale and the crew had been sent there to pick up the base payroll, $62,000 in small, unmarked bills. Binghamton, certain that McHale would steal it, had marked the serial numbers of the bills. "It's a trap, Carpenter," he whispered. "I'll let them lose the money, then I'll find it on them, and then Leavenworth." But something went wrong. Parker, carrying the payroll bag through a crowded market, was distracted by a beautiful French girl with a peculiar birthmark on her ankle. A small, brown heart, he noted. While he was studying the birthmark, a local thief snatched the bag and vanished. "I lost it, Skip," Parker wailed, tears streaming down his face. "The payroll! It's gone." "Don't worry, Chuck," McHale said, his brain working at high speed. "We just need to find that girl. She must be in on it." The hunt for the girl with the heart-shaped ankle led them through the back alleys of Noumea. They checked every cafe, every dance hall, and every shoe store. Meanwhile, an alligator named Sydney, a semi-tame pet of a local fisherman, had found the discarded payroll bag in a swamp. Sydney, being an alligator of simple tastes, decided the canvas bag looked delicious and swallowed it whole. When the crew finally tracked the thief to the swamp, they found him wrestling with Sydney. "He's got the money," Gruber shouted. In his stomach, they managed to lure Sydney back to the 73 with a trail of peanut butter sandwiches, Parker's mother's recipe. Binghamton arrived with a squad of MPs, ready to make the arrest. "All right, McHale, where's the money? I know you have it." "The alligator has it, sir," McHale said calmly. "An alligator? You expect me to believe an alligator ate $62,000? Binghamton sneered. "Search the boat." They searched. They found nothing. "I told you, sir," Parker said. The situation ended up in a military court. Sydney was brought in as Exhibit A. The courtroom was packed. "This is an outrage," Binghamton shouted. "You can't put an alligator on the stand." "I object," Parker cried, acting as his own defense attorney. "The captain is biased against reptiles." Suddenly, Sydney, bored by the legal proceedings and feeling the effects of the peanut butter, let out a massive belch. Out of his mouth flew a soggy, half-digested canvas bag. The judge opened the bag. Inside were the bills, soggy but readable. He checked the serial numbers against Binghamton's list. "These bills," the judge said, "matched the marked list." And they were found inside an alligator, which was being led by Ensign Parker. Binghamton smirked. "Aha, guilty." "Wait," the judge continued. "If they were going to steal it, why would they bring the alligator to court? This clearly shows the crew was attempting to recover the funds from a natural predator." "Case dismissed, Captain Binghamton. For trying to frame your own men with marked bills, I'm recommending a formal inquiry into your methods." Binghamton looked at Sydney. Sydney smiled, showing a row of very sharp teeth. "Why me?" Binghamton whispered. "Why is it always me?" McHale leaned back, adjusted his cap, and winked at his crew. "Well, boys, I think Sydney deserves a steak dinner. On the captain's tab, of course." As the PT-73 roared away from the docks, the sun setting over the Pacific, the laughter of the crew echoed over the waves. On Taratupa, the war continued, but as long as McHale was in command, the Navy would always have a little bit of room for a good shindig, a talking alligator, and a very confused captain. The end. The Taratupa Tempest. The Misadventures of Mchale's Navy. Prologue. The Humidity of Madness. The island of Taratupa was not so much a strategic military outpost as it was a petri dish for tropical insanity. Located in a forgotten corner of the South Pacific, the air was 70% humidity, 20% diesel fumes, and 10% the lingering smell of Ensign Parker's failed attempts at homebrewed sake. Captain Wallace B. Binghamton, known affectionately by his men as Old Lead Bottom, though never to his face, sat in his office, nursing a stomach acid that could have stripped the paint off a Japanese destroyer. His life was a constant battle on two fronts: the Imperial Japanese Navy, which was manageable, and Lieutenant Commander Quinton McHale's PT-73 crew, which was not. Chapter 1. The Tactical Ulcer. "Wow, just wow," Captain Binghamton muttered, staring at a supply manifest as if it were a death warrant. "Garter belts, Carpenter. The nurses are demanding garter belts. We are fighting a global war for the survival of democracy, and I am being haunted by the hosiery needs of the medical corps." Lieutenant Elroy Carpenter, a man whose primary military skill was nodding in synchronized rhythm with his